I said, that picture of this nice group of ladies here, this is a posed for picture. This is not an army that just come from killing people. This looks almost like some fort, like Elmina Castle or something like that, which could have been a Portuguese fort or a British or French fort. So it looks all very composed. If you look at the, I mean, it's important to think about the background. What led to this picture? How did this picture come about? If it's such violent killing force, they were obviously posing for somebody that be their benefactor. So back to Lagos. So Akisha brings in slavery, introduces slavery to Lagos, and after he dies, Logunputere ruled from 1749. Adele ruled from 1775, but was dethroned by his brother in 1779. Went up to exile and Abeokuta, where he met with Madame Dosunmu, and married her in 1833. But that's another story, we'll get to that later. Adele was dethroned and Oshilokun became king. Oshilokun was Kosoko's father, and again later on in history, he will find out he adopted Oshilokun. He is also mentioned later on in the story. The U-LifyTV took over from Oshilokun in 1889. This is Kosoko's brother, but at this time Kosoko felt he was rightful heir, and so he was rather angry and took off to caused a lot of problems then. But we understand that the reason why his bid was denied was because he was rumored to have had an affair with the Little Udibo's wife. And Little Udibo is the kingmaker. So that was the rumor. But then when the U-LifyTV dies, they call for Adele to come back again by passing Kosoko, who was standing by waiting for his turn. And Adele comes back with Madame Tinubu, who at this time, coming from Badagry, at this time Madame Tinubu had established a very thriving business, both guns and slaves, and comes to Lagos as the queen at this time. So by Adele dies again 2 years after he comes back, and his son, Colloquium, was made king. Again to Kosoko's chagrin. Again, a little people with the spanner in the works, as well as Madame Tinubu, who felt competition, Kosoko as a major competitor, because Kosoko was also a major slave trader. But Colloquium was struck by lightning, I think 4 years afterwards. He was struck by lightning, 4 or 5 years after that. And so what happens? They went to bring Akitoye, who was Adele's brother. I mean, this must be a very old man, because they preferred him again to Kosoko. But Akitoye, being an older man, felt that it was important to make peace. So he invites Kosoko back from exile and say, look, let's live together in peace and harmony, and gives him a nice title of the Oloja of Iriko. This was against the advice of the Little Udibo and Madame Tinubu, obviously. But then, true to their foresight, Kosoko takes over, overthrows Akitoye in 1845. And Akitoye goes up into exile to Badagry. I'll try to speed this up now. Madame Tinubu, okay, she was essentially like get my friend to say, was a major player in the slave trade, and she was a major political person. She came into Lagos. She had to go into exile in 1841. She eventually was kicked out by Docemo, who we find out, and exiled to Beddingfield, where her story continued as a major arms player. Now, just a comparison between Kosoko and Akitwe, because this is important. Akitwe was, Kosoko was Akitwe's nephew. He was pro-slave trade. He allied with Portuguese, and his refuge was Epe, and he had support of Iletu Odibo. Now, Iletu Odibo, Oshirikapa. Oshirikapa was a young prince from the Bida area. From, I think, Oshirikapa was from Bida or somewhere up north, the Ilorin area, and was captured as a slave, and managed to escape in Lagos and sought refuge in the king's palace, explaining that he was a prince. One of his children to go to Portugal for training. Rather than send any of his kids, he offered Shirikapa. He offered the Shirikapa as a emissary from Lagos. Shirikapa was now into Portugal, where he was trained, and also to America. He came back as a major the slave business and arms business, and essentially was a strategist for the king. Now, the Akitwe in exile made contact with the British, and also with the help of free slaves like Ajay Carter and J.P. Davis, where they managed to convince the Queen to attack Lagos Island, attack Lagos port to install Akitwe, because Akitwe signed to stop slavery in Lagos against Kosoko, who had proved difficult. So in 1851, the British bombarded Lagos. It was called the bombardment of Lagos, or the reduction of Lagos, and they essentially forced a treaty, well, not forced, it was Akitwe willingly signed a treaty then, which essentially went thus. The export of slaves to foreign countries is forever abolished in the territories of the king and chiefs of Lagos. And the king and chiefs of Lagos promised to inflict severe punishment on any person who shall break the law. No European also is allowed to do this, and any European will suffer, blah blah blah. But the key thing was, let me see. Let's say the Article 6. The subjects of the Queen of England will always trade freely with the people of Lagos in every article they wish to buy and sell in all places and ports and rivers within the territories of the King and the chiefs of Lagos. Essentially, what happened, what this treaty did was to sign off the rights of the King to his kingdom. So the British could not charge, his taxes were no longer viable. He could not collect taxes from his people, so the British could go directly with the people. Business was one-on-one now. So the king's role became secondary in any transaction. The kings hitherto had received taxes and on most trade that was going on in Lagos. Then let's see. Complete protection shall be afforded to missionaries or ministers of the gospel or whatever nation following the vocation of spreading the knowledge and doctrines of Christianity and extending the benefits of civilization within the territory of the Kings of Lagos. Encouragement shall be given to such ministries or ministers in the pursuits of industry, in building houses for their residents and schools and chapels. They shall not be hindered or molested in their endeavors in any manner whatsoever. So essentially, one of the things they did was to bring in the missionaries and merchants to open the gateway. After Lagos had been bombarded, the Lagos had been reduced. So they needed to get in builders to rebuild Lagos and brought in the churches and schools, etc. So this is a map of Lagos in 1850.